This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributors.
It's so interesting. When I go to a signing, and I'm sure you experience the same thing, Daniel, when we go to a signing, the clients often ask us, well, how am I supposed to hold title? And we're like, yeah, we don't know. We're not lawyers.
Well, and it's funny that you say that we're not lawyers, because this is one of those segments that kind of we walk the line during this.
We do. We're not giving legal advice. We're going to preemptively say at this
right.
point, we are not, Rick, nor I, nor Daniel, none of us is giving legal advice.
So one of the things that comes up, and you're exactly right, you get to the signing and the clients are wondering how they should hold title. But believe it or not, most of the time, do you know who's deciding how they're holding title is the lender.
Yes, yes.
The lender is actually putting it down with the deed of trust, and they're doing it scientifically.
Sure.
A couple different ways. And those people who understand and they've seeked out legal advice can tell their lender that, look, no, I want to hold title this way,
right?
As long as it meets the guidelines of their loan program. And there's really three ways that we see people holding title.
The most common ways.
The most common ways.
Right.
The one, right from the beginning, you have a single person, okay? So that person is either going to hold title as a single man, a single woman, and then there's always that little part after it that comes into play with other ways to hold title, but not necessarily with that one, and I'll get into that.
Right.
And then there's also an unmarried man and an unmarried woman. And the difference between the two is a single man has never been married, a single woman has never been married.
Gotcha.
So an unmarried means at some point they were married. Then we go into the two most common types that we have. One is tenants in common. Mm-hmm. Tenants in common, I like to describe it as you can divide it up. It's a pie. You can divide it up as many different pieces as you want and in different size pieces. Okay, so you could have two people, one owns 90%, the other person owns 10% of that property. Tenants in common it has to have multiple people, and it could be multiple entities as well, but we're not going to get too technical on that. But it can be multiple people, and it can be a variety of interest in the property. The key thing about tenants in common is it will, when somebody passes away, it will have to go through probate.
Gotcha.
So that person shares. So to give you an example, if Harvey, me, and you owned a house 50-50,
right,
and something were to happen to one of us, that 50% would have to go through probate.
Gotcha. Tell us about joint tenants. That's the other one, right?
So joint tenants is very similar way of holding title. The main difference with joint tenants is I like to explain it as it's the last man standing way to hold title.
Okay.
So you could have 5 people on title. They all have a divided equal interest in that property. So it's not broken down how tenants in common can be different percentages. Mm-hmm. Joint tenants is equal. First person were to pass away, it automatically transfers to the next 4.
Gotcha.
Down to 3, down to 2, and then eventually down to the only remaining person. And all that happens without the having to go through probate court.
This is the more common with a married couple also. A married couple would use joint tenants with rights of survivorship, basically, is the way I've heard it.
And they can be husband and wife as joint tenants, husband and wife as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. It doesn't, the rights of survivorship, you really...
It's redundant.
It's redundant. Joint tenants is the biggest thing. And we have to see that. That's the thing on the deed. If we don't see... If the words joint tenants are not written on the last recorded deed, we automatically assume that it's tenants in common.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So it defers to tenants in common.
Husband and wife.
Right.
If it would just said, Jim and Mary Smith, husband and wife, and that's all that was recorded.
Oh boy.
And one of them were to pass away, we look at that as a situation where it's going to go to probate because it's going to be tenants in common.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now. If you ever have a question about real estate or any of the other topics we cover, just call me off air or text me at 702-203-1165. You can also check us out on the web at lvrealestateradio.com or on our handle on social media at LV Real Estate Radio. We'll meet you on the radio next Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDWN, the Talk of Las Vegas.